Welcome, good morning, good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast. This is Gary Stotko. I'm here with my partner, Jeremy Julian.
Good morning, everyone.
We're the restaurant technology guys. As promised, thank you for joining us for hands-on look at NorthStar Order Entry. We'll be taking you through front of the house with a quick product demonstration. Then we'll jump into reports and segue over to the platform and the structure, wrapping it up with a quick Q&A.
One of the things that you guys have given us in your feedback is that you want to see live product demonstration rather than a PowerPoint with a model's hand. So we're going to go through a little bit later on this morning, just going through, and I'll go through the product and do a full demonstration of how you would use the product. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to go through everything that the product does, but I'll give you guys just kind of a basic overview of how it works, and you guys can ask some questions, and we'll go ahead and answer those and/or set up presentations for later.
Super. One of the things that has come to our attention, oftentimes you guys have a larger group than just yourself watching. If you could just take a moment, go down to the bottom right-hand corner, and let us know in the comment box how many people are watching along with you. That'll help us keep better track of who's coming into the presentations. So I'll give you just a second to do that real quick. And they're coming in now. Thank you. Just another quick moment. And great, thank you. Go to the same spot as we go through the presentation to put your comments and or questions, and we'll have time towards the end to answer those for you.
At this point, we're going to need to cut out just a second here and get a little bit closer to the terminal because obviously you guys can't see everything that's going on within the terminal here. So give us just a second and we'll get the camera feed right onto the terminal and walk you through the product. All right, welcome back, guys. I wanted to go through the iPad real quick. If you guys have joined us for any of the order entry webinars in the past, you'll notice that we are an iOS-based point-of-sale system, and so we are running on an iPad. The system will work on a full iPad, an iPad Air, an iPad Mini. We just happen to have an iPad, a full-size iPad here. We think it's the best from a form factor perspective. Just a little bit about the case. There's a multitude of cases that we've got out there. You can buy off-the-shelf cases, or you can buy them from us. We've produced some different ones. Over here, you're going to find the mag card reader, credit cards, and/or for staff login. Just as an aside, that's going to sit in this spot here. Depending upon your use case and how you would use it, you might put it on this side and flip the iPad over so that you're flipping it over for a guest, depending upon how you're using it, if you're a counter service place or a staff-facing place. The login screen that you're going to see here, you've got the ability to log in via mag card or log in via a number. So I'm going to log in with my number here. That's going to bring me to the order screen. We've got the system set up today to function in a counter service environment. It could very easily be changed over to a casual dining restaurant or a guest-facing environment, which if you guys sat through any of the presentations before, we have a guest-facing component, and we'll talk a little bit about that when we talk about the structure later on in the PowerPoint. So as you can see on the screen here, you've got the items here in this kind of center portion, and you've got your menus on the left there, on the right there. Those menus are the groupings of items. You have the ability to have multiple groupings of items there. You also have the ability to color both your menu bar as well as the items on the screen. You can do uppercase, lowercase, different fonts if you choose to. This is your on-screen guest check, where it's going to show you the items that you have, and I'll show you how you would use the on-screen guest check a little bit later, as well as quantity buttons. So if I wanted to ring up 3 of something or 4 of something, I have the ability to touch 3 and touch 3 Cokes. Makes it really simple for servers to be able to go through. What I'm going to do is walk you through one quick fast transaction, just so you can understand how simple and easy it is to use. And then we'll take a look at a little bit more complex transaction just to get you into a little bit of what the product can do. As I said in the intro, this is not an all-inclusive demonstration. We could spend 45 minutes to an hour going through all of the different product pieces and answering questions as they come up. We don't have time, and I want to respect your guys' time. Really, we're trying to get your interest peaked so that we can do a little bit longer demonstration and match the needs of your specific restaurant. I know that I hate nothing more than when I go in to go buy something and the salesperson doesn't even ask me what I want, and they just start showing me the product. I'm not trying to bore you, other than to try and get you guys a basic understanding of how the product works so that it would give you some interest in wanting to see a little bit deeper. So as you can see here, you've got your menus, and it uses the gestures that are inherent in iOS. So you got beverages non-alcoholic. We're going to ring up 2 Cokes. You see the number 2 up on the quantity there. You'll also see on the on-screen guest check 2 Cokes. You've got the ability to hot chocolate. If I had multiple sizes, it could prompt me for multiple sizes, small, medium, and large on the hot chocolate. Ring up my root beer. You can see the quantities on the on-screen guest check as well as on the items themselves. Those modifiers that popped up on the hot chocolate were something that I could have a small, medium, and large. If I wanted to prompt for that, I could. I don't necessarily have to. A lot of the options that I'm going to be going through are options that are optional, and exactly that. If it fits for your restaurant, then we can turn them on. If it doesn't fit for your restaurant, we don't necessarily have to turn it on.
So in essence, it's customizable to my business needs and how I operate.
Very much so, very much so. And so depending upon what you need, if guests are getting their own drinks, I don't even necessarily have to say Coke, Diet Coke, Sprite. It could just be small, medium, and large beverage so that they go and get it at the fountain. Again, depending upon how you are inventorying your product and how you are selling your product, it all is completely different and customizable based on how you're looking at it. By the way, you guys can see my hand, but not necessarily see Gary, who's sitting here. He's going to play the part of the customer and ask some of the questions that you guys might be asking, either in the question panel there on the right, or the questions that would come up if you were a customer, as it were. So a couple other things that I wanted to go through. I'm going to select the Champion Burger screen. On the Champion Burger screen, I'm going to select that Cajun Burger. When I selected that Cajun Burger, it came up with my what we call our component screen, which in a traditional point of sale environment, that would be your modifier screen. One of the uniquenesses about our products is that it comes up and shows you all of the items that are automatically on that item. So if I have this Cajun Burger, it's a burger bun, it's cheddar cheese, it's yellow mustard, it's jalapenos, and it's red sauce. That's something that I have that shows up on this burger. If I didn't want cheddar cheese on that burger, I could press the minus sign. I could also press the plus on cheddar cheese and on jack cheese, and I would get both of those cheeses. I could do it there, or I could use the gestures within iOS and swipe and remove that jack cheese, and it'll show up. I'm sorry, I didn't remove the jack cheese. I guess I removed the red sauce. When I removed that red sauce, it got the little 1 minus off the red sauce there. I touch that minus, and it goes away off of both the on-screen as well as the modifier screen. If I want to group these together, so I've got my condiments and I've got my different items that are together, those all can be grouped, or I can go to the all screen and see all of my modifications for that item.
How would that benefit me in counter service?
In counter service, again, I think it's a great use case that oftentimes I know for myself when I walk up to the counter and I'll ask, hey, there's certain things that I don't like on my burrito. I'll say, is there guacamole in that burrito? And it's really awkward when the attendant will turn around and look at the menu and kind of try and figure out if there's guacamole on that. Whereas if they were to just touch the burger or touch that burrito, they would see guacamole's on it or guacamole's not on it. So it's a very easy use case that I can see. One of the other things that, as you say that made me think about, Gary, is that we have something else because it's iOS, or because the application uses gestures, kind of like the swipe. I also have the ability to have what's called a long hold. And the long hold is the ability to have a descriptive as well as potentially have pictures if I wanted on that item. So pictures, suggested items, so you've got wine pairings and food pairings with different appetizers, entrees, desserts, more so in casual dining, but it might work great in suggested upsells and things like that for a counter service place. So again, a couple of different features to allow your servers and your attendants, your team members, whatever you might want to call them, the ability to have the system teach them how to do their job more effectively. So I went through and rang up that burger. I'm going to ring up a Shiner burger. I'm going to add it to the order. Now, again, counter service. This is a counter service demo. If I were not in a counter service demo, I would hit submit order. It would go off to the kitchen, either to a kitchen video or to a prep printer. Since it's in a counter service environment, and this terminal is set up as a counter service environment, I'm going to go to the payment screen. Again, customizable, allow you to do whatever you want with it. I see that the order is $40.94. I ring up $50 in cash. I hit apply payment. It gives me my change due. I make change, and I'm done with that transaction. Like I said, want to make it simple and easy for the cashiers to be able to do their job effectively, do it quickly, and be able to get the guests out of line as quickly as possible. And so that's just kind of a quick transaction. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and do something that might look a little bit more like a counter service environment. Again, it might not work perfectly because it's set up as a demo for counter service, but in a casual dining environment, if I wanted to split check. So we'll go ahead and do a couple of salads. So we got 4 salads. Now, on the guest check there, I have the ability to I have the ability to add the check. Sorry, hang on, let me go back. I have the ability to add a check there. When I hit add check, I have the ability to add a second check, and if I wanted to, now I can take the items that are on that guest check and I can drag them down to guest check 2. So no different than a lot of other point of sale systems. I'm going to need the ability to modify my checks. I'm going to need the ability to split items off. I know that I hate it when I go out to dine out with somebody and, oh, we don't do split checks or those kind of things. We also have the notion of splitting tenders. So on that payment screen, there was also a ability to split payments by amount or split evenly. That amount is, I could split it evenly by dollar amount, split it 2 ways, split it 3 ways. I can split it evenly. So I can split the remainder of payments. I can split the items on the check. A bunch of different options for being able to go through my transaction should I want to.
So you don't really limit me as to what I can or can't do. That's nice.
Yeah, no, not at all. And again, it might not be applicable in the counter service world. It does have application, obviously, in the fine dining and/or casual dining environment. Some of the other things that I wanted to show is the idea and this notion of the caret and the eye, which is kind of the question mark button. All of these different things are options. Adjustments in our environment is the idea of a discount, a void, or a comp. And so I can easily from the touchscreen take that item off the check, have it go ring back through. It adjusted that TJ salad down to 0. Again, I'm logged in as a manager. If I was a server, I wouldn't have that option, but I can adjust that item off of the screen. I can apply a comp, apply a discount. All of these different functions that I might want or need have the ability to do from the touchscreen through my manager card login and/or from my number login.
So all tied to user-based privileges.
Very much so. Very much so. So depending upon what user privilege you have the ability to do adjustments. Certain adjustments, not all adjustments, or all adjustments, kind of depending upon how you configure the system. Other thing that I wanted to show is, again, in a counter service environment, I can have it prompt for dine in and take out at the end of a transaction, and/or I can have it prompt me at the beginning of a transaction. You can do it either way, just kind of so that I know both from a packaging and prep design, as well as the ability to capture those sales and see where my revenue is coming from, whether it's coming from all of those different environments. And so those are just some of the basic functions that I kind of wanted to go through. Finalizing the check, it's going to update the data. Again, that was kind of the basics, being able to adjust, being able to split a check, being able to split payments. There's a whole bunch of new functions or a bunch of other functions, gift card inquiries, all of those different things are all in there. We also do a full time clock solution that you can punch in and punch out, do adjustments, have it talk to payroll services for you. Just kind of keep an ear out and we'll talk through it.
Let's jump into reports.
So one of the things that I do this kind of naturally with my hand because of the fact that I'm used to using the application, but we have the ability to swipe to the right. And these are kind of all of my functions that are turned on or turned off, that are the ability to do different things, whether it's takeout orders, pre-orders, change the mode, and we'll talk about the mode here in a little bit, print my open checks, print my open payments. One thing I did forget to go through that I think is a cool feature, we have the ability to turn on what are called age verifications. And so I can turn on an age verification requirement for an item, whether that's at a counter service place. I was just having dinner at a Mexican casual dining, a fast casual place last night, and they have beer and wine. How do I verify that the age was verified? I can have that. Also, if I put iPads at the table, you guys have seen the guest-facing demo, and/or for the counter service, you have the ability to know that this is an item, this Corona Light is an item that is an over 21 item. So I can go here, I verified the age. Now the system knows that Jeremy was logged in and he verified the age of that person, so I have reporting back to the system to say that Jeremy verified that the age of that person before he served them that drink. Gary, you asked to go into reports. So reports on the iPad are built in such a way that they use some of the technology that's built into the operating system. You've got all of these different reports down here on the left-hand side. You've got sales reports and labor reports. You also have the ability to sort by name, sort by total, all from the iPad. I can sort by count, sort by name, sort by total. I can also search here, and it'll bring up an on-screen keyboard. So if I wanted to find that Cajun burger, you see that I sold 3 Cajun burgers today. So I can type in the name of the item that I want to see, and it'll automatically go through and real time scroll through that. So kind of a cool feature that you don't find in most point of sale systems out there today. Component sales, components to us are items such as modifiers, and so you'd see what your component sales were, different adjustments. Those are the voids, discounts, comps. So you've got all of those different reporting, DSR reports, as well as labor reporting. We talked earlier about the fact that we have a time clock solution that you could do all of that time clock reporting from here in the front of the house. So, is there anything else, Gary, that you think I should go through?
You know what? I guess what I'd like to see is, at the end of the day, what's the biggest differentiator between this product and the rest of them?
So if you've been to any of our presentations in the past, and we'll talk a little bit more about it in depth here when we cut over to the PowerPoint, but what I think makes us different, and one of the things that makes our product unique, is the fact that you have multiple different ordering modes all through the same application. If you've seen any of our presentations on the guest-facing application where you're putting an iPad at the table and you have guests that can use it themselves, or table service environment, counter service environment, or in a kiosk. Gary and I, when we were in New York, went out to a customer that's a fried chicken location, and they had a couple of kiosks that allowed people to go order drinks and desserts after the fact. And so those kiosks were being used to look up drinks and desserts, and they were driving revenue through kiosks that were sitting in the dining room. But at the counter, they had 3 terminals that people would go up and ring. But it's in New York City, middle of a busy lunch. They don't want to wait. They can go to a kiosk, go get their dessert, go get their milkshake, and get out of there if they want to. So it's unique that all in the same application, all with the same database, all with the same user interface for being able to make the modifications on pricing, on the pictures, on the items, on everything that you're doing, all happens through this platform that we call ECM. And again, we'll go through at least the platform a little bit later on in the presentation.
No, that's a perfect segue for us, Jeremy, because we can now jump over to the PowerPoint, and we'll go into the platform and the structure behind order entry. Thanks, Jay.